Hello everyone. I'm going to give you a little tour of what we can use in sense of permaculture principles and a very urban setting. As we can see, we're here in an urban type of setting. There's a little bit of green area here, but it's mainly for people to walk and some animals. It's not a forest. Here we have a huge building, and here we have a balcony. Okay. And one example, there's some bird gifts. One example is to how we can use limited space in growing food, okay? And this has been set up for about a month. I've been here helping them set this up. So one of the things that they have done is they've planted seeds into containers, and then they transfer them into bigger pots. Okay, the seeds can be either planted in indoor and then transferred outside once they get a lot bigger. So we're going to go over each one of these and what we can do with them. Okay, as an example here, they have planted more seeds. These are growing and ready to be transplanted eventually into bigger pots like these. Okay, this one, the transplants that don't look too well, but some are living. In general, the transplants should stay alive. This one did not. One of the things that happened here, they got transplanted and then they were directly exposed to sunlight, and the sun just dried them up. The roots weren't able to adapt to the new soil and absorb the water. Hence, a lot of them, like those I showed you, they did not take well. Now, what I want to show you here is that you can have a very minimalistic approach, very little, very tiny, and make something out of it, okay? And again, it doesn't have to be expensive. Here we're using vegetable wooden crates, if you want to call it, to stack them up and try to put as many plants as we can. You can make some fancy shelves, and it's fine. That's not a problem. But you can also use very limited resources. Okay, what I'm trying to tell you is, don't try to find excuses if you don't have the financial means, because you can do this on your own, very simply. So this person doesn't have much of where to put the plants in sense of containers. Okay, so they've made these containers basically from big gallon jugs or 2-3 gallon jug of water. They cut the tops and fill them with soil, and in the bottom they put holes, and they're able to create very deep soils for the plants, and they're transparent. This is another positive thing, so sunlight can get through. The plants are protected from the wind. There's a lot of high wind. When you live in or you plant things on a balcony, the higher you are, the more you get exposed to the wind. So here, let's start here. Over here we have chards. Okay, they're very young, about a month old. These are, I believe, tomatoes. And here we have more tomatoes. Here we have some radishes. Tomatoes. Here we have beets that have been planted. This type of deeper container will help for the beets to grow underneath. Here we have radishes and just a bunch. Again, more beets, tomatoes. I believe this is an herb. Oregano or basil. I'm not sure. We'll have to see what develops after some time. Same thing here. We have some radishes that were transplanted, did not take well. Here we have planted cucumbers as well as zucchini. We'll see how these take off, because sometimes they need a lot of water, and not just water, a lot of sunlight for some of these squashes to take off. Those are carrots. Okay, we'll put them in this. We'll see how they take off. And Here's just basically some plants being used as decorative, uh, because sometimes just to have edible foods in a setting, uh, depending on the person, okay, doesn't have to be all about food. And it also can be pleasing to the eyes and to how one likes the setup. This here is an interesting plant. This is a stevia, and has been planted here, and apparently it's taking off pretty well. Here they are using the pineapple tops and even some beet tops, and they're trying to get their roots to take off so they can be transplanted into pots. Here we have aloe vera, green onion, and some basically some weeds that have grown in here over time. They left them because they like them. Again, a weed, for somebody a weed is something bad. For another person it's a plant, a seed. Okay, it depends on the context. They are growing here symbiotically, so or growing together and not symbiotically. So here's aloe. Aloe is a medicinal plant. There's a lot of properties. We'll see how it takes off, but it's been doing good. These are tomato plants. These should be transplanted into a bigger pot. And here we have aloe and some more hardy plants that require lower amounts of water. Hence, they're all planted together. And again, you can put combinations of plants when you have limited amount of soil and space, and make sure you combine the ones that require high water or high sunlight and the ones that require low water, and etc. So we're here about the first month, and then we'll see for second month more or less. We'll see how these develop over the summertime, and then we'll explore more. I'll keep you posted. I'll keep coming back. And the last thing I want to show you is here they have put a container with soil and a lot of the vegetable waste. They have tea leaves, coffee, etc., and they mix it with the soil. They create a compost. So you have to mix this daily to create aeration, and also for the if you want to call it compost or foods to integrate with the soil and be broken down by the microorganisms. So they have two buckets, one with soil ready to go that has been composted and it's been churning, and then this one where they're adding their foods still. Both should be aerated. I recommend daily. And so again, very simple setup. Okay, you don't have to have a expensive setup to do any of this. It's not true permaculture because again, when we do permaculture, we integrate systems. Ideally, we would have animal systems, we have plant systems, we have water systems to capture rainwater. Again, maximize everything, right? Also, we can use solar, wind energy, and a lot of the waste that comes out of the household be used into the garden and even go into animals. So again, since we're in an urban setting, we need to think in terms of efficiency for an urban setting. If we have acres of land, we need to maximize that as well. Given our input, if we have the time, the resources, but it's worth it. So with whatever we have, we need to think that just because we don't live in an agricultural or rural setting, is that we cannot implement some of the principles or even expand our food security by having some vegetables growing. And you need to adapt the foods that you grow to the environment that you're at. If you live in a high desert or dry place, you're gonna have to plant foods that are different than in a tropical place, high humidity. But outside of that, plants do grow. And also my second recommendation is to plant plants, let's just radishes for example, that are easy to grow, easy to plant, and they'll proliferate fast. Same thing with the chard. We'll see how that takes off, but it's looking pretty good. These are examples, but you need to work with your setting, with what you have, and get creative, and always try to think about expanding or enhancing your experience with the limited resources sometimes that we have. Okay, with this, I leave you and I wish you the best. Continue with the journey, continue with what you have. Let's create this impact, in our lives, so we can actually start being the change that this world needs. Okay, all the best to you. I am here to serve, so let's do this together. God bless.